From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls, and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance of West resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricator real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Deanus Nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in disguise. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the scrubble. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage to reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, this is Under the Groove podcast, and we are touching bases with the people. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising, as we usually say. Hopefully, everything is everything, and everyone is doing well. What's the day been like for a lot of us? For me, I can't say. It's been really busy. Like I said, I've been doing this content, trying to get it up and running, trying to understand how this system really works, so that we can get out there, we can reach more people. Touching bases with the people, man, is something I think a lot of people would do good if they, got aboard this channel. Because here, we see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I already said hear, speak, and see. All right. And excuse me. Yeah. My mind's everywhere. But yeah, we hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil. This is where we keep everything above board, straight, just solid, nothing underneath going on. There's no underhanded this or that. This is where we focus on the focus and we get down with this get down. I'd like to welcome everybody in. Like I said, it's been a kind of busy day for me. Not bad at all, to tell you the truth. I'm not complaining about nothing. I'm here, and I think that's what matters, I see you up in here, Antonio, as always, man, front and center. That's a good look. You as well, James. Love right back to you, brother, Antonio, man, and peace and blessings, man, to you and yours. Hey, James, man, what's happening? You say salute, brother Bub. Sorry I haven't gotten around to reaching you. I'm going to have to get in touch this weekend. Regardless, I hope all is well, brother Bub. I appreciate you, King One. Likewise, man, I know how this shit go. Like I said, or like we say, life is happening, man. And in most cases, when we understand that this is a thing that we got to be in always, we have to prioritize. So you contacted me, man, when you have the time to do it, I'll be available, man. All right. Just always stay focused, man. Do what you're doing, bro. You say peace to the RGC and the Black Round Table. Yeah. Coogee 74, what's up, Hoover Street? He says, hey, what's happening with you, Coogee 74? All right, everything is everything. It's good to see you in here. This is the first I've actually seen his name. You might have been, under a different username. I don't know, man. But anyway, man, appreciate you coming in here, man. That's a good look, man. All love and respect for that, bro. Hopefully everything is everything between you and yours, man. And, you're living well. Everything you got going on is on some positive stuff. Keep it that way, all right? Keep it that way, man. Growth is possible, man, no matter what they tell us. All right. James said, hey, man, do you believe that we as humans are born innocent, Brother Bub? You know how some folks say they're born with it. And by that, I mean, is it possible for people to be born in a specific way and makeup? Yeah, I think because we have to look at the genetics of people. You know what I mean? So we're talking about DNA. And some blood types, man, are messed up, so some people are predisposed to, certain mindsets, behaviors, things of that nature. So I think there's a strong possibility that, yeah, man, some people are born the way they are. And I mean, just in, attitude, or conduct. In terms of, because I think this is a two-sided, question. There's a couple of, answers and statements can be made relating to the question you dropped. Now, in terms of, let's say, the genders, people being born one way, but exhibit behaviors, of the opposite gender. I can't speak to that, man. You know what I mean? I don't know the science of that, to tell the truth, but I think that a lot of that is because of how they are raised. You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff is put into the minds, of babies, man, infants, from the time 1-2 years old, man, the brain is a sponge, man. It will soak up, especially at that age, it'll soak up mostly everything that's, put in front of him or her, for to ask me if I think people, for instance, do I think people are born homosexual or gay? I don't know, man. I don't know. I would like to think that they're not. I think that that is, like I said, how they're raised. That's what I think, man. I think this stuff, and it's like mostly everything that we understand or come to understand in life, man. We pick up stuff, man, and as a result of that, we end up displaying or portraying, man, certain characteristics, and behaviors, man, that are not necessarily natural, game banging, for instance, that's not a natural thing, man. You know what I mean? Especially just looking at the behavior of individuals and how they're going about doing it. That's just an example, So that question, damn, you come right on in and hit me with some shit. I don't know if they're born with it. What I can speak to, because I've read some of the literature, I'm not a know-it-all, man. There's a whole bunch I'm lacking in terms of education and knowledge. But when we're talking about DNA, we're talking about, man, genetics. And some genetics, genetics, man, can determine the type of individual, not just your characteristics, the physical you or whatever, but also how your mind or how your brain is wired, with, nurturing, of course. But to say that we're born with some things, this, that, and the third, I think to some degree, yes. Yes. For instance, I think that we were born with the ability, man, to overcome. We were born with, we were born to be resilient. You know what I mean? We were born to be, just creators, innovators, pathfinders, inventors, a whole lot of things, Again, though, a lot of that comes with, we're born with these gifts, I think, these abilities, but they have to be nurtured. And so that's what I mean when going back, just speaking on that issue about, homosexuality, being born to that. I think that's something that's nurtured. I don't necessarily think that you're born that way. And that's just my opinion to those who are that way. That's not a knock on anybody. But yeah, there that is, man. And hopefully I answered that to some satisfaction, man. Hopefully, I'm gonna read that again because I'll tell you, boy, you come right in. Yeah, I can dig it though. Do you believe that we as humans are born innocent, brother Bub? Also, in that respect, first question, are we born innocent? I'd like to think so. I have an issue with, and I had this conversation with one of my guests about um, religion, but Christianity specifically. Some passage in the scripture saying we're born into sin, and my question was, how is that possible? How is that possible? Am I or anyone else not born innocent into a world we didn't create? We had nothing to do with creating. How, as a newborn, or how, as coming from the womb into the world, I'm a sinner? That doesn't make sense. So I like to think that, yeah, man, I was born innocent. I was born innocent. In spite of what the DNA code is in terms of certain traits and, like I said, characteristics and whatnot, one being born into the world, first day in the world, you're born innocent, man. You can't, it just don't make sense to be born in the sin or born, I don't know that, but there that is, man. So yeah, I think that we as humans are born, or are born innocent, man. Ain't no sense in me even trying to confuse myself about that. That's what I think. You're going to say, how some folks say they born with it, and by that I mean, is it possible for people to be born in a specific way and make up? Well, when we're born, we already know what the makeup is. Either you're male or female, right? You have melanin or you don't. You know what I mean? You have a hair full of hair, a head full of hair. You don't. You know what I mean? There that is. But being born a specific way, that's far fetched, because again, we're born as infants. Our process in terms of coming into this world, coming into life, man, has yet to begin. It will begin the time we come out of the womb, and you're breastfed or whatever. You know what I mean? You're going through this process. That's the thing. You can't be born a specific way. I think that in order to become a specific way, there's a process. That's what I think, man. All right. I'm gonna move on, bro. But again, man, hey, fire, man. Don't stop. Don't stop, man. And if I miss something, and this is the beauty of the Royal Group Congregation, or touching bases with the people, is that we have people who tap in, man, and have an opinion, have some knowledge, have education or understanding of something that some of us may not. So this chat, this Royal Group Congregation, by all means, is welcome to jump in or chime in on that statement or that comment that James just dropped, man. Again, that's the beauty of this thing. All right. Queen Nzinga says, happy Friday Eve, kings and queens, abundant blessings. B1 equals black first. Man, there's a lot to talk about now. That man, my mind, I'm kind of slow right now, but I've been doing a lot of stuff today, and then a lot of issues came up. I said, I'm want to discuss this, man, when I sit down with the RGC. But yeah, first things first, man, black first, man, love and respect, man, to each and every one of you. Welcome. We are privileged to have you guys, man. Everybody that's in here now and who will come, we're privileged. We are privileged that you're here. So let's make the most of it. All right. Let's make the most of it. Antonio Anthony, what it do, man? He said, I shared it. Same to you, big homie. Hey, I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. And just, we're asking here at Under the Groove Podcast to like, share, comment, man, and subscribe if you see fit, man. The same will go for All Things Politics 26. We're getting that channel up and running, and I would tell you that channel is going to be fire, just based on the work I'm putting in, and me trying to hone this this craft. I can call it a craft now. You know, it's something I actually like doing. But trust and know I'm going to get better at that. You know, I want to bring satisfaction, not just satisfaction, but information, enlightenment, and, you know, the whole nine, man, to the people. So this is why I'm doing it. Please, you guys partake in that, you know, get involved in that with us. It's going to do us some good. All right. So again, thanks for that, Antonio, man. All right. Coogee 74. Yes, sir, bro. All right. All right. I see you, homie. Good for you to be in here, man. Trust that. Trust and know. And just check out the Royal Group Congregation and how we get out, man. Hey, you know, they drop jewels, man. They drop gems as well. You know, for everybody to come in here, man, there's something to pick up, man, take with you, man, in the hopes that, you know, you get something from it. Once you get it, you pass it on, man. That's the process. That's our wealth, actually, you know, lacing one another, you know, educating each other, keeping us uplifted and in a space of love and respect, man. You know, that's to get out. That's to get out on Under the Groove podcast, but specifically, that's to get out with touching bases with the people. All right. James, you say, man, I believe some people come into this world who lean more towards their inner demon. And only when it gets too late in age for them, they become the true form of that beast. But see, again, you know, you're saying you believe some people come into this world who lean more towards their inner demon. I'm saying, man, I don't think people to begin with are born with demons. You know, this, you know, or having demons. You know, I mean, we're talking about life, man. You know, it's inception, man, where nothing other than that child being connected to the mother in the womb through the umbilical cord. You know, so whatever she may be going through in terms of emotions and stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's something that could be passed on to the child. But, you know, just in, you know, children being born with demons, or, you know, that, I think that, again, that's a process. This is stuff we pick up along the way. And that's the way of the world, man. Tell you the truth. I don't think we're born one way or another, good or evil. You know, we're born in, you know, we come into the world, man, without knowledge of that thing, you know, or that sort of thing. You know, we pick this up as we, you know, as we grow, as we evolve, mature, you know. That's what I think, man. Now, for those who you're saying, man, when those individuals, man, when they get of a certain age, man, and they, you know, then had these demons or whatever, when they get older, I imagine you're saying them demons really start to come out. You know, they come true to form. Again, if that's the case, that, you know, that's a behavior that was learned. You know, that's a mindset that was, you know, that was nurtured to be that way. That's a spirit, man, that was deadened or deaded, you know, some time ago. You know, again, as children, man, we pick up stuff. We can learn to be as evil as the devil, just using that as a metaphor, you know, but we can learn these things, you know what I mean? We could just be as loving and kind, gracious as an angel, so to speak. You know, it's all a process, but I don't think anyone comes into the world like that. We pick up shit, yeah, and as a result, some of us don't know how to let go of it, you know, and it becomes who we are. As we get older, we get worse. I swear to you, man. I was just told on the way here, I'm just a grouch, you know. And I'm like, what? No, I'm not. You know, I don't believe it for a minute. You know what I mean? But that's that. Yeah, man. You know, that's something, man, that, yeah, we got to chop up about, man. We got to lay that on the table, man. And you know, the Royal Group Congregation, we got to dissect that one, man, and come to terms with, you know, exactly what it is you're alluding to. We had to be more specific about that, you know, put it like that. And I'm pretty sure you up in there breaking this shit down. So I'm going to keep going, man. All right. You say true, bub. Absolutely. What's the deal? TV 5 Deuce, New Jersey Groove 716. Hey, what it do? What's the deal? TV. All right, see you in this get down, man. Appreciate your presence. You already know this get down, man, but I'd be remiss not to say it anyway. This is Under the Groove podcast, man. You are touching bases with the people. I mean, this is where we get down at, man. But we get down in such a way to where there's nothing presented here disrespectful. Let's put it like that. We're all about love, man, and unity in here. I'm pretty sure we got Bloods in here, Crips in here, gangsters, non-affiliates, Hoovers, some everything, men and women. But we all want to stand 10 toes down on this thing. We're addressing ourselves as kings and queens. That's what we pushing, man. Not as nothing else, man. You know what I mean? So coming in here, you're more than welcome to do so. We're not worried about what's happening in the streets in terms of having dialogues about this set and that set and all that, man. We're trying to, have discussions that would lead to certain solutions for our people, man, so that, in time, we don't have to be even tripping about a lot of this stuff, man. It's fine to love your tribe. And there's nothing wrong with that unless, how you exhibit your love for the tribe is by you or anyone going out and doing something foolish, doing something that would hurt the community or the community next door or whatever that may be, so represent. But we suggest that brothers who are in the life like that should start representing in such a way that it exhibits positivity and growth, empowerment, education, things of that nature. We say this quite often about gangs, not just in Los Angeles, but wherever they are. None of them own anything where they are. You know what I mean? So, we use that for discussion. We use that to, try to figure out, how to get to the point where brothers can start to understand that if they're going to do that, it can be done differently. It don't have to be done the way, gangs do things nowadays. There's nothing wrong with evolving. There's nothing wrong with changing, making yourself a better human being, especially not just to yourself and your family, but your community. So that is, man. I ain't gonna go on and on. But what's the deal? TV 5 Deuce, more than welcome to be here, brother. It's an honor that you're here. We get down, man, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday live. All right. We might do Sundays, man, but I'm sending you that, I'm hitting you with that so that you like, share, comment, and hopefully subscribe to this get down, man. So, when we going in, you'll get that notification we going in, bro. We love to have your presence amongst us. All right. So peace and blessings to you and yours, bro. And hey, shout out to New Jersey. All right. James said, man, well said, bub. You broke that down better than I could have. I do believe 1000% between ages 0 and 13 years old. Those are the sponge years where we soak up everything we perceive for good or bad. And yeah, quite frankly, man, if it was me, man, I would drop that age. I would drop. Well, no, that's good between 0 and 13. That's pretty good. In fact, that's on point. That's on point. All right. Because those are the years that we soak up everything, man. And depending on what's in our environment, what's around us, how we're being raised, will determine how we turn out to a great extent. You know what I mean? What we're exposed to actually matters. Actually matters. Give you an example, man. Look at children today. Little girls, for instance, and little boys, but little girls first, or little sisters. What do most of them have in common with, their mothers and sisters who are older? They all twerking, dancing. They all want to, be cute. Most of them, cannot read or write adequately. They don't understand what morals are, principles. Integrity is something that may very well be a foreign word to them. They don't worry about what's good or bad. They are only concerned with just doing it. You know what I mean? That's messed up, man. On the other hand, we have young brothers, man. Most of them, well, I take that back. Not most of them, but some of them aspire to be nothing but a gang member. You know, we have some who actually think it's all right, man, to go to prison. You know, in fact, we have families, man, who promote it. You know, families, they do this to the children, man. They sit up in the, you know, in many words or many ways, you know, they imbibe them with this thought that it's a rite of passage. That's wrong. That's wrong, man. Our little sisters have no business, man, trying to be cute at 4, 5, 6. Have no business twerking at 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They have no business doing that. But this is what they are subjected to. So this is what they learn. This is what they pick up. You know, and that shit bad, man. I'm telling you, it's a shame, you know. It's a shame. You know, kids now are so what's the word? Precocious. You know, young kids, 4, 5, 6, think they're adults. You know, they have no respect. You know, they talk as if they've been here. In fact, they don't talk. You know, they talk like the peach falling off the tree, but talking to the tree as though it came before the tree. Know everything. You know, and that's sad, man, and embarrassing and shameful. It's a disgrace, man. So it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. Those sponge years are really, man, the years that our children, man, our children are supposed to be, man, sucking up nothing but identity, education, history, you know, just knowledge. That's beneficial. That's beneficial. Everything else, man, it shouldn't even be secondary. It should be tertiary. It should be the third thing on their mind to do. You know, primary and secondary things, man, should be about their growth, the intellectual growth, man. You know, their identity. You know, that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about nothing else, man. But, you know, look at society. Look at our culture, our communities. Y'all don't see this stuff, man? It turns my stomach. You know? These are kids, man, wearing clothes all up in the crack of their butts. They're sitting up, they trying to, who got the biggest camel toe? You know, our young brothers, man, they got their pants down to their knees, literally. You know, now that's something I can say, I can attest to, I can say that I had something to do with, you know, it's passed on to me. I took it and I sagged my pants too, man. I sagged my pants too. You know, so I helped carry that on, perpetuate it, you know. Anybody ever trip off the word sag or sagging backwards? Sagging backwards. Somebody give me the answer to that. Well, you know, hey man, this stuff is a trip, man. And I'm able to say it now because, hey man, I went through it. And sad to say, it took this long for me, man, to just come into the realization that, man, in a lot of ways, I mean, I'm satisfied with my life now, all right. But looking back, it's sad to me to say, man, I wasted the majority of my life for nothing. For nothing. Now, add that to the hundreds and thousands, the millions of other brothers who can say the same, and sisters. You know, we're wasting our lives, man, our future. We don't have one. If we continue to see our children from the ages of 2 to 13, 14 acting the way they're acting, we're not going to have a future, man. Our people are, we could end up, man, in a bad way. I wouldn't say extinct, but we could end up in a bad way, man. Here in these United States, I can't speak for the continent of Africa. It seems as though most of those countries there are getting it together. They understand the purpose, the reason for being. We don't have that comprehension here. We don't understand our purpose, our reason for being, man. And it shows in our behavior, But yeah, man. James, man, goes on to say, right, we born sinners, they say, born losers, trying to die winning. Yeah, and I think that's messed up, man, to put that on somebody. I recall going to church as a kid, as a child, and being told that. That was the reason, you have to be baptized because you were born a sinner. You have to be baptized, man, in the blood of Jesus, And I think that had a lot to do with that. Messed me up, man. Just part of it. Don't tell no child that, man. That I think that's wrong, man. And I think that's a disservice to the child's mental growth. It's, that child's stability, man. They're thinking, I'm a sinner, and so therefore the thought could be, or they could carry this thought with them that, like you just said, James, that I'm a loser. I could never be washed clean. I'm born a sinner, I think that's messed up, man. They live trying to undo something they had nothing to do with, trying to shake, the vestiges of a sinner. Had nothing to do with that, whatever that sin is, but hey, Edgar Tatum, what it do, loved one? Just checking in, huh? Hey, man, better that you check in than not, man. I appreciate seeing you, big bro. How you been, man? I know you're well, man. I know you are well. Same here, man. We tend to try to, keep this thing going, bro. But again, it's good to see you here, man. I appreciate you showing up, bro. All love and respect, all right? All love and respect. We still got to hang out, though. I can see myself doing that with you, and hopefully, that's reciprocated. You know what I mean? Hang out, man. Chop it up, man. Shit. Get a bite to eat, man, and just, spit game, Good to see you, bro. Hope that you and the family are well as well, all right? Devin Butchie, man, what it do? Peace right back to you, brother. Good to see you up in here as always, man. Good to see you. Hopefully you're well as well. Your family is doing as good as you, man, and everything is everything, all right? James said, man, I asked because I appreciate different perspectives and also the views of my elders. I may know a lot about this, but I don't know a whole lot about that. And some things, I guess, are just unexplainable. Yeah, that's true. I'm about to say, well, no, man, nah, they still haven't been able to explain the pyramids. All right. So there's one thing, for sure that's unexplainable. For me, a whole lot I can't explain, man, so yeah, therefore it could be, or I could label that unexplainable because, hey, I don't know about it. I couldn't tell you. So yeah, I get your point, bro. I get your point. All right. You go on to say, James, understood above. I respect that. It starts after we come out of the womb then. It does, man. It does. Ask some of these sisters or mothers who've taken parenting classes, man, while they were pregnant, and what they were told, and some of which I consider to be legit, especially if those classes were held or were instructed by women of color, or people, because we, sisters know sisters, they're gonna tell them some stuff, man, that the Wayupi can't tell them, have no understanding of, You know, a lot of what we do and how we are, how we come this far, man, it's unexplainable to them. You know what I mean? So it makes sense, man. You go on to say, man, we just got to be the best versions of ourselves individually, because it starts with each and every individual being on the same page is the hard part about synchronization of our communities. I don't disagree, man. I think, if we individually get it together, we rewire our minds, rethink the thoughts we have. In fact, man, get some of that garbage out of there, relearn a lot of stuff, re-educate ourselves, man, as individuals first. I think, man, we'll go a long way, because then that's an individual who will run into an individual who has their thing together. Now you got two individuals. Now that's a unit, man, and they're on the same thing. They get it, looking for the third, the fourth, you know how that go. But yeah, individually, I think is the key for a lot of us in terms of, in order for us to get it together, individuals have to have it together. They got to be the individual before there's us. We can't bring brothers together, man, and individually, they ain't got it together. So good point, bro. Good point. You go on to say, man, some folks are 10 pages ahead, others 10 pages behind, while some are chapters ahead and others are chapters behind. Then there's those who ain't even started reading, and those already into the next book. There you go. There you go. I think then for some of us, man, we fell behind the process, or, we didn't get it right, that process exists, man. That process exists. And then I get what you're saying. It's a metaphor, and that's cool. But I was just thinking, man, because you mentioned books again, man, nowadays, probably the only time a child of the years you mentioned from, let's say 0 to from the time they're born to age 13, only time most of them would see a book is probably at school, or probably on the phone. The phone is taking over, or, taking the place of books, so books are not something that is something that we see regularly anymore, even when we were going to school, everybody carried a book or a peachy folder or something, nowadays I see, backpacks, but, ain't no telling what's in these backpacks nowadays, but I very rarely see, especially for the females, carrying books. I go to work, I pass two junior high school and a high school every day. I don't see that, But yeah, man, a lot of us are behind, I think, though, because again, how we were raised, what's going on in the household, what's going on in the household, how we're being structured, laced, or educated, So yeah. Again, though, we were talking the other night, and I was saying, be that the case, man. We got some that you ain't ready, some that are ready, some that are getting ready, that sort of thing. Still, though, I don't think we're expendable. I don't think the individual is expendable. You just made a great point about individuals. So the individual has to be saved, man, in order for the unit to exist, for there to be a gathering, a unified front, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, the individual, man, needs to be looked after, man, needs to be structured, educated. All those things that would matter if we're talking about unity. The individual has to understand the reasons for that, Most of us don't. Most of us don't. Raymond Skull, 102, man. How you doing, bro? Peace and blessings to you and the Rays, man. Hopefully everything is everything, man. And that snow ain't, I hope it ain't getting you down, man. He'll pull out them Monopoly games, man. Some Uno cards, man, some checkers, some chess, some Chinese checkers, some backgammon, man. Hey, make it happen, man. Enjoy the company you with, man. I think that's important. That's important. But I'm pretty sure, brother, a brother like yourself, you already got everything lined up and it's looking good, man. You guys are handling that. You're going to say peace to you, bub, and blessings to your family. I trust all is well with the brothers and sisters in your community. Salute to the kings and queens in the Royal Group congregation. Appreciate you sending that out, man. We're fine, man. I haven't heard anything, about, in any bad news or anything of too much negativity, man, from over that way, man. So, hopefully everybody's all right, man. That's everywhere, not just your sector or my sector, but everywhere, bro. Hopefully everybody's all right, man. But good to see you here, bro. All right. At M13, good to see you back. All right. You said on point came the world a winner, tried to make us a sinner. On point came the world a winner, tried to make us a sinner. Ain't that something? Ain't that something, man? Can you guys imagine back in antiquity, our ancestors telling 1-2-year-old babies that they're sinners? Can you imagine? I can't even imagine that, man. I can't imagine that. It leads me to think, man, that, yeah, man, the fix is in, man. Something's going on. Why would you tell a people that? Yeah, there's some old, old trickery behind all this stuff, man. And that's not to knock nobody who is into that, But if you're into that, I don't know, maybe it's been explained where you can understand and you accept it, but I find that hard to accept, Our people, man, weren't told that 400 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago, that they are born sinners and they need to be washed clean of their sins, telling children this. Nah. All right. Hey, appreciate you being here, M13, really do, man. On point came the world a winner, tried to make us a sinner. That's deep. Jay said there's a lot of poor examples around today, which shape these youngsters. From very young, they show hatred, jealousy, attitude, and other bad behavior traits that no child should have. Misled astray. Again, yeah, man, and we're a lot of us are responsible for that. A lot of us who are parents now and grandparents, a lot of us, have some responsibility, in that, man. And for those who know, exercise accountability, man, in such a way where, hey, man, okay, that was then, here it is now. It's not too late. It's not too late, to change not just the mind, but the direction of our youth, man. Hate can be replaced, especially hate for self. That's where it all stemmed from. It's hatred of self. That can be replaced for love for self, Jealousy does not have to exist. But there are things going on in the world that allows jealousy to be the beast it is. We bought into the system. The system, it's materialistic, it's capitalistic. It creates jealousy. All that can be changed, though. And attitudes can be adjusted. Skolester 7901 said, man, I would like to know, is the Groove going back to the Super Bowl? Is the Groove going back to the Super Bowl? If you talking about the 49ers, no, man, that ship sailed. We wasn't on that boat, man. You know, only people I know going to Super Bowl this year, Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. So no, and if that's, you know, there's another meaning to that, I don't get it, man. But no Super Bowl. You go on to say, man, Scholastic goes on to say, for the people, all the people that's going to be, there is the groove going to quietly represent. Yeah, help me out with that one, brother. For all the people, for the people, all the people that's going to be there, is the groove going to quietly represent? Are you talking about going to the Super Bowl physically then? You know? And if that's the case, we won't be going. We were actually supposed to go on the Super Bowl cruise. We changed our minds about that. It would be nice to go to the Super Bowl just to have that experience one time. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like this, man, on a lot of fronts, man. I don't like spending money, not because I've been poor all my life. I don't want to lose it. You know, I think that if it comes to, or when it comes to spending money, let there be something to show for, in terms of, assets or building something or having something to leave behind, something like that. When you're talking about going to the Super Bowl, you're talking about the expenditure of about 5 racks or better, because it's an event. It's an event now. It's no longer just a one-day thing. You know what I mean? They set it up for 3 days, maybe 4 days before the actual game. So, nah, yeah. I'm like I said though, man. It may be an experience I can appreciate, but again, it's not necessary. You know. Skolester, you going to say, man? Or no, I just read that. Okay. Yisrael, man. Shalom, family. Much love and utmost respect to everyone. Right back to you, bro. Peace and blessings to yours. Shalom to you and yours as well, man. Good to see you here with us today, bro. Good to see you here with us. Hope that you're feeling well. You're doing well, all right? Voodoo, what it do, loved one? He said, I send my love and respect, bro. We need a new indoctrination. Yeah, we need to be re-educated. We need to relearn, man, some of everything, no doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt. The miseducation of the black man, it shows. It shows, man. And that's bad. So yeah, just on that, man, on that note, yeah, we need to be re-educated properly, real stuff, man. And we need to, do away with the indoctrination that's befalled us, that has befell us, got us all messed up. That is a work in and of itself. That's a task. That would be a task. So imagine that, though. That would be something. Good to see you, bro. Gotta holler, man. Just know you're all right, all right? Love you, man. Raymond Skull 102 says, man, I've concluded that parenting has become ineffective due to social media's influences and young parents normalizing distasteful behaviors. I agree, I concur, but also parenting became ineffective when the government came into the household and prevented parents from parenting. You can't even whoop a child nowadays, which is kind of crazy because, like I say, when we were growing up, the principal or the teacher could whip your ass if you got out of line, What changed? Furthermore, if we all know anything in terms of who or what we call our children, then we know they don't really belong to us. Yeah. The mother birthed them, the father raised, help with that process. But children do not belong to the parents legally. You know, the state can come take whatever you claiming is yours. And that begins with human beings to material things. So I think the state, the government got in the way first. The government got in the way of parents parenting. That's what I think. You know, there's that. And then society had gotten really bad for black folk where, you know, some black folk had to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Child left unattended, you know. There's no one to watch over this child, you know, what he or she is doing after school, during school, you know, any of that, you know. I remember the phrase latchkey kid. I remember going to school with dudes and girls who had their key on a shoestring around their neck. That's because the parent wasn't at home. You know, the parent was not at home to oversee their rearing, you know, their growth, you know, their nurturing. They had to work, you know. So again, man, I think the government first and foremost, the government has a great deal to do with all of this. And it wasn't for nothing, you know. Come on. Again, we talked about this last week, not just round tables, they have think tanks. Every subject or idea you could conceive, man, they got a think tank for it. And that think tank, those individuals, they sit around or in that enclosure and they come up with ways to keep them in power. The ideas or, you know, the programs, the policies that they come up with, man, are created to affect any one or many ethnic groups. It's just what it is, man. They knew what they were doing when they, you know, destroyed the black family, you know, and that started not, you know, even after slavery, so to speak, you know, when the jobs were abundant here in South Central, in Los Angeles, they intentionally shut down a lot of corporations and businesses and took them jobs elsewhere. That left a situation, man, you know, that left a situation where fathers couldn't go and work for a living, take care of their families, you know. And as a result, then welfare came in and they told him, well, he can't be here, you know, and took the father out the home completely, you know, emasculated him, you know. Man, this shit deep, man. This shit is deep. You know, what's been going on with us, again, you know, yeah, we're responsible. We should be accountable, especially when or once we come to know better, you know. And yet we continue down, you know, certain roads or paths, man, then it's no longer, you know, pointing the finger at somebody else for our woes, you know. We have to be accountable, man. But it all started with, you know, a government, you know, those in power understanding that the best thing for them was to keep us, you know, below par, keep us beneath them. They already understand, you know, what it would look like if they don't, you know, enact all these programs and policies to, you know, decimate us, the family first, the black man and black woman, the black child. They already know what that'll look like if they ain't, you know, playing ball to the point where they're trying to destroy us. They know. They know. They wouldn't be able to survive, you know, with black folks running their own shit. So they have think tanks, man, for this sort of thing. And them things work. Them think tanks work, man. Again, though, the coldest part about that is that we know they exist. And yet we continue to go down these roads, man. We continue to act as though it don't matter. When in reality, it does. Like I said, man, our next generation and the one after that, in a whole lot of trouble, man. Our people may not have a future. We'll be even more insignificant to the so-called program or to society. They already have us, a pigeonhole as just consumers. Just consumers. We take care of hundreds of corporations every day. White families. We take care of people who don't need taken care of every day. Every day. And these corporations, I'm telling you, man, more than half do nothing or give nothing back in return. Maybe a third of them might, every 5 or 10 years, say they donating something to some cause that's really irrelevant because it doesn't address the need of the people on a whole. You know what I mean? So, man, we're in a bad way, man. We're in a bad way. Now me saying that doesn't mean that we should lose hope. Our people been in a bad way for a long time, still here. Then overcame some shit that no one else on the face of the earth can say they've overcome. And still we're here, So it's not like we don't have, like I said, that we're not resilient, stubborn, if you will, But we could do so much better, man, if we just saw the big picture, man. If individually and collectively we saw the big picture, we could change the world tomorrow. We change the world tomorrow, man. $1.4 trillion is what we spend every year, annually in this country. And I bet you $1 to a donut is more than that. They're just talking about what we spend above board. That's on the table. You get it? You could probably tack on another 500 billion, 250 billion, okay, let's be reasonable then. Okay. 250 billion, those are dollars that leave our community and never come back. That we are Africa here in America. The European here, the so-called white American here is the colonizer. Take from us, and give nothing back. We stay working, feeding them, letting them just, hey, man, bleed us dry. But again, man, we can only blame people so far. At some point, we have to say enough's enough. $1.4 trillion. You got countries that only have that as a budget annually, man. European countries, known European countries. So that means, for instance, Donald Trump want to have as a budget for the Pentagon, the war machine, $1.5 trillion this year. They already have $1 trillion budget. He wants to add on another 500 billion. We're paying for the military, y'all. We pay for the military. That's our military. Man, we got to wake up, man. We got to wake up. But yeah, man, parents, uh, we're at a stage, man, where enough should be enough, and parents should have by now had enough of unruly, disrespectful children. Look, man, and this is no lie. My mama used to try to whoop my ass till I was about 16. You know, you know, 16. I left. Was in the streets, lived in the streets. You know, but what I'm saying, and my point is, my mom didn't give a damn how old I was. You know, she saw that I was headed in the wrong direction. I didn't see what she seen. Of course, mom's man, older than me, lived longer than me. Her experiences, man, dwarfed mine. You know what I mean? She knew. That's why she did what she did. Grab that extension cord, man. Come on. You know, I appreciate it now. I didn't then. She didn't let up, man. She didn't let up. And I'm pretty sure that mothers all over this country just like that, man. But now they're in jeopardy. See, because back then, police didn't come to your house if you was getting your ass beat. Straight up. That didn't matter. You know. Nowadays, parents run a risk of disciplining their children. You know. The scripture says, spare the rod, spoil the child. I agree with that scripture, But what recourse does a parent have when you can't even use the rod, to correct behavior, Again, all this shit, man, it's not by mistake, man. The system needs our children to continue to thrive. They're the next rank and file. They're the next ones in line to serve the system. They're not too worried right now about us who have discussions like this, who want to mount up, and bring a change to our communities. They're not worried about that. They will only become worried, or it will only become a real issue to them, is if we start making headway into them young minds. That's when it's going to become an issue. See, right now they say, oh, they can't compete with YouTube. Social media got them. They can't get, they're not gonna get any leeway, any headway, getting them youngsters, man. They got YouTube. We give them this weed and we lace it with whatever we lacing it with. They got syrup, they got drugs. Don't worry about it. Facts. The cold facts, man. Sad facts. Anyway, Raymond Scott said, LOL, the snow been doing what it do, but I've been working every day and staying with the focus. For right now, homie, I prefer to be in earthquake weather. 4 people froze to death. Yeah, okay. I ain't gonna lie. I have a fear of earthquakes, man. I shoot earthquakes and tornadoes. That snow is a beast though, man. That cold weather kill you. It'll kill you. Be out there too long, man. You better be a seasoned outdoorsman, to withstand that shit. But hey, man, it's good that you handle it, man. And you're still mobile. You still have motion, Can't nothing. Yeah, I get it. Can't nothing stop you, man. You got things to do. Not even the snow. James said, man, the ones in power are the ones who keep the rest working hour by hour. It ain't enough to me. All brothers and sisters deserve their 40 acres and a mule with the $1 million check on top of that. Hear, hear. Sister Soldier Denise said, man, reparations are coming. And we hear talk about reparations, I don't think that'd be enough. And it's not, the fact that I'm okay, man, then, I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth, I'm being greedy. No, I just don't think that's enough, just based on what we've been through, what we're going through, what we would continue to go through. You can give a whole lot of black people 40 acres and a mule and $1 million check. Guess what? They'll still fuck it off. The mindset, man. It'd be the same. It'd be all us. We shoveling out by the truckload, man. $1.5 trillion to them every year. They'll get that money back, man. Lickety split. They'll sell the land, man, before the ink dry on the deed. So to what end? To what end is reparations going to actually help us, man? Especially when you give that type of resource to a people who do not know how to utilize it. They very well may give the reparations, because what I'm saying right now, they've said. They say, oh yeah, man, you shit, man. We ain't got a bankrupt. Just print the money up, give it to them, and they can just print the money up. Give it to them. Oh, we got parcels of land all over this country. Put some of them in the mountains. They ain't gonna like it. They'll hurry up and sell. Sell it back to the government or whoever. Man, these people know, man. We're not ready. That wouldn't be a happy day. That's not to say every, FBA or African American or black person, indigenous person who receives reparations would squander it. But you gotta know the majority of them would. You gotta know that. We live with people every day. We see how they're getting down. We see how they don't manage. You got people, you got brothers and sisters, got Section 8 and can't even pay Section 8. Section 8, man. But when you see them, they got a big bag of weed. Got some new fits on. Oh, man, this shit is not rocket science, man. We're not ready for a lot, man. And again, that's not to say we can't not just prepare, but get ready, man. We can. It's a whole lot to it. It's a whole lot to it. And I don't mean to sound like a downer, like it's just it's pessimistic. Me, I had this expression the other night. I deal with pessimism first before I would deal with optimism. I'm a pessimistic person before I'm an optimist. And there's a reason for that, and I tried to explain. I hope I did an okay job by just expressing what it was. For me, see, pessimism will show you the business. It's going to show you the business. It'll also let you know how to get to the point of being optimistic, Again, there's a saying, you got to go through something to get to something. That statement by itself is telling you, man, oh, it's going to be a rough road, might not make it, But for those who go through something and get to something are the ones who started out, they didn't just start out optimistic, a lot of weight on their shoulders, man. But the longer they carried that weight, the more optimistic they became. And that's how I deal with that, man. So I'm there that is. I got the look, so that means I've been on that too long. Let me move on. Anyway, man. Yeah, man, I hate to say it though, James. When they get reparations, I just, I pray to the ancestors that, we're ready to receive that, man, to do some good with it. because I'm telling you, the Mercedes Benz, the BMW people, the jewelers, and all them people that get money out, they got enough money. It would make sense to give them that money or keep giving them money, man. They got more than enough. You go on to say, James, I wanted to see the people get their reparations. They've been owed for hundreds of MFing years. Yeah, man. But again, you know, the people have to be responsible, man. Let's just hope that, you know, if that happens, they're responsible. In a state of mind where they understand that, this, it would be a once in a lifetime type of get down. That they would be able to look around them and see their family and say, okay, man, I have to establish something. We have to establish something together, for this family or for, our people, or whatever the case may be. We have to create legacies and shit, So I don't know. Hopefully it happens. And hopefully more so, brothers and sisters are prepared to handle that shit. Raymond Scholes said, thinking further, I agree with you there. Many factors that took away the effectiveness of parenting. Facts, man. Facts. They did a job. They did a number, man. And that shit was, for lack of a better term, man, it was a master stroke. Took the jobs first. Left the man incapable or unable to provide for his family. And if he's not there to provide, if he can't provide for his family, he's not going to be able to be there to protect them. So they made sure that he wouldn't be there, even if he didn't have a job or have a dollar. He couldn't be there to protect them. Get a black man and woman welfare, strings attached. They didn't do that to white people when they first gave them welfare. And welfare for them maybe was as a result of the Great Depression, But they've been on welfare forever. They've been on welfare since its inception. I wonder if that is the same treatment they've gotten, that black men or the black family has gotten, or for those who receive welfare. I'm willing to wager it ain't the same get out. It wasn't the same. Maybe some poor whites, but I don't even see that. Anyway, they took the jobs and they put them in areas where whites can have these jobs. The city no longer had jobs. I remember, man, Goodyear, man, Sears, all kind of corporations was in LA. We used to be on our dirt bikes all over LA. Big plants, all kind of plants. Black men coming out there, man, trying to go home with their lunch pails, I recall growing up, and though we were poor, still black fathers would come home from work. Kids run up to him, hug him, daddy, he tired as hell, but he gonna give him the time of the day. I remember that shit. I also recall when them jobs left. Government did that. Now Pops, depressed, going through some shit, feeling less than a man. So now he's trying to drown himself or his inadequacies in alcohol or drugs. That added to the problem. And this was a gambit, like I say, that they predicted. Bet you. So as a result of that, they started to mash on the black family, the mother who was receiving welfare because Pops had lost his job. Oh, you want this money? He can't be here. She got 4 kids to feed. Pops understand the situation. All right. We'll work something out. We'll figure it out. We'll beat them at their own game, But still, his absence presented a problem. He wasn't there to rear them kids, man. Look out for them. have them do the right thing, teach them what they need to know, preparing for society, the system, you know. That's what it did, man. That's what it did. They effectively removed parenting from the house. They did that shit on purpose. James said, ain't no America without the brothers and sisters who founded it and built it. Yeah, but yeah, it is. There are two Americas, man. And I don't mean South America. There are two Americas in North America. There's their America and there's our America. And they don't match up. They don't add up. There's no resemblance. There is, you know, an America that exists without brothers and sisters actually being a part of it, you know, actually being a part of it. I think it is. I think there is America that exists without brothers and sisters, you know. The homie, what it do, loved one? Hope that you're well, bro. Good to see you up in this thing, man. All right. You go on to say, Bub, I need our people to get a better understanding of the seed culture of our being Africa, not Hebrew, Islam, etc. Yeah, man. You know, man, again, brothers come on here, man, dropping gems and jewels all the time. There are educated brothers, man, that come on into the Royal Group congregation, and there are brothers who, you know, come in and they drop jewels, man. They are educated, intelligent brothers. You know, I'm saying that to say this, man. Listen, that's a part of this get down. To divide, you can conquer. You know, if they got this group over here saying they're Christian, that group over there is saying they're Islam, you know, they're Muslim. This group over here, Christian, Islam, Muslim. This group over here claiming to be Jews. There's a separation already. There's a separation. You got this group over here calling themselves African Americans. You got this group calling themselves fundamental Black Americans. You got this group calling themselves Black. You got another group over here saying, well, I'm indigenous, native. Separation. Separation, man. Cold playbook, man. Think about it. See, we all want to put up these or put in front of us these labels, these titles, you know, who we are over who we are. You know what I mean? Don't nobody know how to separate themselves from this stuff that we know keeps us separated. Religion is one of the coldest tools. It's the coldest tool they use on us, used against us. Just straight up, man. Straight up. You know, it's just like games. Just like games, man. And we flex that shit. Every time a Muslim see a Christian, there's a debate that can get out of hand. Jews see a Christian or a Muslim, they disrespect them. They're the original people, and we're, you know. Time a blood see a Crip see a Hoover, or separation, man. Because we wearing this shit, man, like it's really ours. None of us really know what's ours. Our identity has been stripped from us, man. We can't any of us actually say who we are. You have a whole continent, Africa, that's been chopped up and divvied up, separated, and it keeps them at each other. This shit ain't just here. All over the world, where there are people of color, it's what they do. So I think it would behoove us to just get a better understanding that we are one, regardless of that other shit. Regardless of that other shit, man. It's the other shit that's keeping us separate, keeping us separated. It does not allow us to unify, man. I'm telling you, that's what's happening. This shit is a thorn in our sides, man, and we don't even know for the life of us how to pull it out, man. It's crazy, man. And you know, respectfully, the homie, I'm just saying, bro. What's the difference other than the religion? Aren't we all going through the same shit? I don't care what faith you have, religion, and you're black, we're all going through the same shit. We all talk at one another, talk down to one another. There's no respect. And most of those who do that, call themselves religious, God-fearing, whole lot of other things that's supposedly supposed to set you above others. Again, it's just these are the games they play. So religion will look down on another religion. That's just like a brother who got more money than the next brother. He looking down on him because he got more money than him. Shit is all whack, man. And it hurts that we continue to carry, we haven't shut the vestiges, man, of colonialism, man, of slavery, our minds being trapped, man. We so far from it. It's scary, man. It's scary. I learned early, man, religion ain't for me because I just seen too many cracks in it. I don't care. You know, that's to each his own. I understood, though, internally, there's something going on in here. There's a power, there's an energy in here. And I'm affected by nature, man, by love and shit. You know, I know this shit, right? It allowed me to say, man, I don't need to be told none of this. I don't need to follow or worship none of that. Because it's done my people no good. We're from a source can't nobody put their finger on, man. But dudes is giving titles to it. They got us given like we know, like we really know. Shit, man. Come on, man. Come on. Most of our ancestors, man, were forced to be Christians, forced to be Muslims, forced. Come on, man. We got to stop this, man. I'm telling y'all, man, we've been saying this. To divide is to conquer, man. And there's so many ways that they could implement division amongst us. Man, I'm telling you, so many untold ways. But the ones we know best, we still allow that to drive a wedge between us. Man. Get a better understanding of us, man. Just us. With all the extra shit. The extra shit is causing the problems for us. It prevents us from communicating. That part right there, man. It prevents us from communicating, coming to know, learn, to understand the individual because he's a Christian, because he's a Black Jew, because he's a Muslim. Come on, man. No. This is a part of our indoctrination, man. That's all it is. And we got to be willing, man, to shake the indoctrination, man, of the colonizer, man. Shit, man. Raymond Skull, man. Raymond Skull says, so it's all a systematic design to distract us and slow our progress down as a people. Facts. Listen, we all talk about, we all know the stories, and we all want to use as examples Black Wall Street and all the others. That was only one. There was so many. We all talk about that as though we get it, that we really, man, that's the business. We support that. But we all seem to fail to realize how they were able to accomplish that. They had no division. They had individuals understanding what their purpose was, man, the reason for being. And them individuals were willing to come together with other individuals who understood the same thing. They understood that they were one and the same, man. They unified. They got it done when the white man said, oh, this will show them, let's segregate them. You talk about Black people, man, what? We did good by ourselves. That used to be the saying. That used to be the case. Everybody's separated now, man. Black people, man, salt of the earth. They ran that shit, man. Own banks, their own hospitals, their own universities, their own education, had identity. Didn't need anyone. Their own trade, commerce. Fooled them. Pissed them off. How dare you play us like that, boy? Came back and tore all that stuff up. And then turned around and said, matter of fact, we ain't gonna let y'all do that again. We're gonna integrate all you darkies. We're gonna bring you into our schools. Let some of you attend our churches. Get a few of our low-end jobs. But we got to have y'all near us so we can watch y'all, because y'all do too much. In fact, we're going to instill some policies and programs in you guys' community that's going to have y'all, that's going to divide y'all. But we don't need y'all working together. That's what they did. I just heard recently Trump is trying to reinstall or start up again segregation. I clapped. I wish you would. Keep your reparations, man. I wish you would. For the sake of our people, man. Again, man, what they've given us, what they've done to us, all of it has hurt us. It's hurt us. It hasn't done us any good, man. I'm telling you, but again, they've done such a number on us to where, man, really, they don't got to do nothing no more. Sit back and watch us react and carry on based on what we learned from them. And that's how to hate ourselves and hate each other. How to always find division, a reason to trip. All the while, man, we ain't gaining nothing. We losing ground. The more we trip on one another, the further back we fall. Come on, man. The homie, the homie say, man, the reason we are losing politically is because we fronting like actors, impersonating other people's cultures, and it makes us look like clowns. All right. Okay. And the other reason is because, politically, they don't want us to be a part of nothing. Politically, they run everything, So a lot of our politicians, because they realize it, they get in there and they tap dance. They do what they're told. One in particular, there's this thing, brothers and sisters got this love for Jasmine Crockett. All right. I'm telling y'all, man, just a pretty face with an ugly voting record. And again, a brother made a statement, man, about Jews and the Zionists and Palestinians hating blacks, just like, American whites do. Be that as it may. Be that as it may. Why would any black person, however, or why would any black person then go and serve these people who are committing atrocities to another people when her people have went through this shit first? Why would any black person do that? Because politically speaking, we have no power. You got to toe the queue. And then internally, a lot of them just want to be there. They'll do what they're told. A lot of them are spineless. Don't stand on nothing. No integrity. The Zionist regime, man, so-called Israel, man, is over there running an apartheid system, Jim Crow, segregation, murder, genocide, in fact. And she would lead the people, black people in Texas, to believe she got our backs. Anybody with some sense would not trust her. If she's willing to go along with that, that's like anybody else, man. We see individuals on social media doing the shit they do. I bet you $1 to a donut, nobody trust them individuals, because we see how they getting down. We see what they're doing to others, You'd be a fool to trust anybody like that, man. Jasmine Crockett shouldn't be trusted. She ain't got her shit together, man. She helped pass bills to give Israel billions in military aid, but won't pass a bill to send food to starving people. Won't support or sponsor a bill that says, hey, man, from the land to the sea, whatever that means. Will sponsor a bill that says the Zionist regime have a right to exist, but won't sponsor one for Palestinians. In support of colonizers, man. Colonizers. Same type of people that did what they did to her people are doing this to another, same people. And you would support them? Nah, man. Nah. It's not politics, man, per se, that's bad. It's the people in politics. It's the people in politics, man. Think about that, homie. It's the people in politics. Yeah, we got a whole lot of them go up there shucking and jiving. You got a so-called Democrat, a black caucus. They send money all over the world, man, for everybody. That black caucus, though, for real, man. Know that there's 40-something million blacks here, and more than half of them need help. They ain't stood up for the people, you know? So yeah, in that respect, we got clowns over there, man. We got raccoons, man, for sure. Whole lot of them. You see them on TV every day. Parading like clowns, for real. But it's not the politics, man. It's the people. It's the people. You know? And yeah, they might impersonate the characteristics and traits of the enemy, but at the same time, they're trying to say they're still a part of this culture, and they're not. They're not. They're more than clowns. They're traitors. They're turncoats. Straight up, man. You go on to say to homie, the whole world knows about what happened to us in slavery, stripped of our language, God, culture, etc., except us. No, man. Yeah, no, yeah, right? We know, man. We know. We know. Some of us just don't give a damn. Rather fit in, be accepted, you know? You know? Listen, man, we know the stories, man, about the plantation and the field and the house. That shit real, man. Again, the divide and conquer, man, on so many levels, man. Many of which we wouldn't know it or understood it if we seen it. I'm just saying, man. I'm stripped of our identity, yeah, our language, yeah, our God, our history, you know, our dignity. This is what we see, man. A lot of us are stripped and we have no dignity. It's the problem. James said, man, that's gonna a lot of donuts, bub, based on that truth. Okay, that's gonna be a lot of donuts based on that truth. You might have to share some over this way. You know, I love my sweets, desserts because of, but jokes aside, $1 trillion is a lot. Yeah. That's from an earlier comment I was talking about, you know, the Pentagon budget. Just crazy shit, man. This country have homeless, starving people of all ethnicities, man. But they would rather build a war machine than take care of its citizens. You know, they'd rather shoot its citizens in the streets than, you know, resolve any issues. You know what I mean? They'd rather have brand new aircraft carriers and warships, you know, brand new gear, rather than make sure people have, you know, a roof over their heads or jobs. You know, I don't know, man. 1 trillion, man, for military, and then we spend with this. We consume $1.4 trillion a year. We produce nothing, but we consume that. Something wrong, man. Dome, you're going to say, man, it's time to do the most difficult work and stop being lazy, learning our West African language that ties us to the continent Africa. Yeah, I was checking out something, man, in response or, you know, relating to what you said. Ibrahim Traore was saying that he welcomes, you know, Black Americans back home, you know, and in fact, a lot have already went. You know, they don't, you know, the shit we should hear, we need to hear, we don't hear. Again, they control everything. They control the information, man. They control the airplane, the car, the train, the boat. You know, fact of the matter is, if they don't want us to leave, you know, we'll just be over here till they decide they want to kill us off. We ain't ready for that either. But yeah, we come from where we come from, man. We come from that. No mistake about it. You know? But again, man, there's a system in play to where them over there don't even want us over here back over there. And those over here don't want them over there coming over here. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You can't go to Ghana. Ghana is in upheaval right now. And Uganda. I mean, they're going through some shit. Always some type of something going on where you have Western powers manipulating them brothers. Even over there, man. Even over there, brothers is biting, going for the banana and the tailpipe trick. To this day. Even over there, they towing the queue, man. France did strip these countries, man. I mean, at least 10 or 12 countries for decades and gave nothing back. Wouldn't build roads, decent hospitals, universities, man. Didn't create jobs. What they did give them, though, they brought in and created terrorist organizations to help keep the government destabilized. You know, brothers over there fighting each other because some Europeans said they should, or they can get power. A whole lot we up against, man. Whole fucking lot. We're going to go to Africa and do what? You know, yeah, it would be wise to learn the language, right? To learn the culture, you know. Then you get over there, what we going to do? Most of us don't know how to farm, to grow things, you know, or to get along. That's the worst part. Most of us don't even know how to get along. We not getting along over here, and then boom, we're gonna uproot and go over there. We're gonna turn that one out too. We over there gang banging and shit, drive-by shootings, you know, them dirt roads and shit. Them people, they, you know, ain't got bust out nothing. Man, nah, bro. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, the homie. I agree with you on that, man.
Let me say, Ghana has given Black Americans free citizenship.
Who did? Boy, who gave him free citizenship? Ibrahim?
Ghana has given Black Americans free citizenship.
Who? Who gave it to him?
Ghana.
Oh, Ghana. Boy, you go over there in Ghana if you want to. Let me hear and catch up to this chat, man. All right. Hey, the homie, yeah, man, you in here, boy. You fire right now, boy. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I can catch up. What? I didn't hear you.
The homies is at the end.
Oh, okay. Let me scroll down. It's a whole lot, man. Oh my God, I'm so far behind, man. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. I'm just it's one of them days, man. You know, the spirit, man, it's strong. The force is strong. You know, in this young Padawan, you know. I ain't no Jedi Knight yet, god damn it. I'm a Padawan, man, but the force is strong in me, man. All right, hold on. Let me see something. Damn, that's a lot, man. I'm so fucking. Y'all got to excuse me. Let me try to catch up. This is where I'll start from. The homie says, "Hey, C1, how you doing, sister? Good to see you in here. I'm so behind right now. It's crazy. I'll start from here though. The homie says, most of us cannot say the creator's name in any indigenous African language. If we can't do that, we walking around like zombies or puppets for others outside of Africa. And that's true. But wasn't it said that it's almost as though the name is unpronounceable? You know, I think I heard that somewhere. And help me with that, homie, please. It's something about the name, you couldn't even pronounce it or something like that. You know, I forgot where I read it or heard it, but yeah. Help me out with that one. You go on to say the homie Africa, I must nail this in our subconscious. Do that, bro. Got to say it 1,000 times, man, just so it locks in, it stays. James said, get a country to its rightful owners, the people. Let the brothers and sisters govern and regulate this thing. Yeah, that'll be the last thing they do. And I'm going to tell you something else. Like I say, man, when we get it together, they're going to be ready to nuke this thing. They're going to nuke this thing. Because they're going to nuke it. Think they can go up, and hang out in orbit. You ain't going to no moon. That's a lie. You ain't going to Mars. That's another lie, But they'll be just sitting up there. What's that movie? Elysium with Matt Damon. And the rich white people were up in orbit, on this, not a space station, but a space colony, had everything, man. While people down on Earth, man, was suffering from all kind of shit, man, Anyway, should that ever happen, man, just know they're going to nuke this motherfucker. Excuse my language. They're going to nuke it. The last thing they want is to see us with anything, and that include Africa, because they trust, they in that think tank, they're trying to figure out how to wrestle that shit from them. Do we just go and start a war, and take shit from them, which would start a third world war really then? But, they trying to figure it out. But they're going to make sure, man, they don't want us to have nothing, man. Nothing. And I was saying this last week about that. If we got it together, man, we have to know, man, we're getting together first and foremost, man, to wrestle power from them, to take it from them, to get control of the arsenal so that they don't push the button and make this thing inhabitable. We'd last a little longer than them, but, chances are everybody will end up perishing as a result. But yeah, that is. You get a country to its rightful owners, they say, I think not. That's what they saying, man. All right, James said, man, I get where you're coming from, Bub. On top of the reparations, our people need to be put in positions of power where they should have already been, from corporations to the government, to serve the people. Yeah, man, but and that makes all the sense in the world. However, we don't run nothing. They know if that is to occur, they got problems. They're gonna make sure that don't happen, man. They're gonna make sure. The homie said, man, it's going to take a full circle revolution of our mental assessment to concur this spiritual disease within the lost Black African turned out in America. That's true. That's true. It's going to take a whole lot, man. And know for sure that not only is it going to take a whole lot for that to occur, man, but again, it's an uphill fight, battle, man, because some of our own, man, can't be trusted. We could be up and running, ready to go, man, and then boom, somebody, we're gonna give you $10 million and send you away. We'll sit you on the island. Somebody say, what's going on? And you don't think they're gonna tell them? I don't know, man. But I agree with you. Let's get free, Black African family. I don't disagree. We need it, man. This reawakening of us African ex-slave in America know what it is. This reawakening of us African ex-enslaved in America know what it is. James said, man, hit that like button if you haven't. Love, respect, and prosperity to all in this RGC1. I concur again. Man, hit that like, that share, that comment button, man. Subscribe, man, if you see fit. A lot of you guys need to hit that notification button as well, man. We're going to turn it up. You know, we're going to get the word out there. And at some point, I'm pretty sure we're going to start to come together. And I don't mean via, you know, the internet, you know, or social media. We got to start meeting up, you know, and wherever we are, you know what I mean? Get your little 3, 4, 5 people at a time once a month. Sit down, break bread, man. Have these discussions, man, out in the community, you know, build that group up, you know, disseminate this education, man, you know, identity, you know, unity and love. We got to spread that shit out, man. We got to put it out there. We don't do it, it ain't going to get done. Real spit, man. And I trust everything I'm saying. I mean that shit. James said, don't let the wolves in sheep clothing lead you into the fire, or lead you to slaughter. You know, stay down, stay strong for you and yours. Israel said, man, big bro, did you check out Bastards of the Party yet? I think we're going to do that this weekend because I never watched it. Yeah, you tried to have me watch it when I first came home. So, yeah, I'm committed to that this weekend, man, for sure. For sure. So we'll be able to talk about that one, all right? I got you on that one, Israel. I got you on that one. Raymond Skoll, man, said, man, well, when it comes to our America, we need to become more conscious and learn politics and world politics, then implement actions which leads to our progress. All right. Again, it's not politics per se that's the culprit. It's the people in politics. We had this conversation maybe a month or so ago, everybody, where we were talking about where our brothers and sisters in politics, especially in our communities, you know? So I agree wholeheartedly with that. We need to become more conscious, you know, and we need to learn politics, especially here in these United States, as well as geopolitics, those politics that concerns everything that's going on around the world or, you know, in other countries. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Learn this stuff and implement it. But even then, you got to know you're going to be in a fight, you know? But hey, that's a fight worth having. The homie says, Bub, respectfully, Africa is not a religion, but a culture that is us first. We don't choose to be African. We just are. All those others are by choice. Yeah, I don't know. Did I slip and say Africa was a religion? Yeah, I agree with you. I think not. Africa is not a religion. You know, it's it's way more than that, man. You know, it's way more than that. You know, it's where we come from. Everybody. You know, the birthplace of the human being. You know, no, African is not a religion. You know, so much more than that, man. I agree with you. It's a culture. It's a grand culture. You know, I agree with that. That's us first. I agree with you, bro. All right. Don't me say respect for the spirit lives underground amongst us Africans. You talking about those who gone before? You going to say to homie, see, Africa is a place I come from. Fact, we know it's those other things are by choice. religion makes us more certain critical mistake. Religion makes us make certain critical mistakes in our first steps. Africa is not a religion, it's our origin. I'm not confused about that scientific fact. And I hope that I'm not proposing that you are. I'll be the last one to do that, brother. All right. And again, I agree. African is not a religion. I agree. It's way more than that. You know? Yeah. Way more than that, man. So I agree. Raymond Scholes said, man, functioning under these different titles creates different political aims, true, and social ideas about our freedoms. We need a universal awareness that encompasses all of us. Be one. There you go. All right, Los Angeles Aboriginal. Peace and blessings to you, bro. He says, peace to the gods. All right. All right. The homie said, black is a descriptive European English word. Africa is our ancestral homeland, ancestral homeland, but ancestral homeland. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I was telling you guys, I think a couple of weeks ago, we had this discussion about the Somalis who are in Minnesota, those other areas, those states. And a few of them were on YouTube and they were saying just straight out, I'm not black. And a lot of us over here took that the wrong way. Took it the wrong way. And one of them went so far as to try to give a lesson, try to educate, those he were talking to on the short that he did. And he said, what you're saying right here, the homie, that black is a descriptive European word. It wasn't a word that they would use respectfully. You know what I mean? But yeah, I agree with you on that, man. And this is what I mean by we need to know or learn our identity, who we are, and not allow others to describe who we are or to give us names, plant, seeds in our heads, say, oh, you're black, or you're a Negro, you're a Negro, or whatever, Yes, it's up to us, man, to know who we are and to call ourselves by that. Not for anyone else to name us, man. And again, that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. All right, Los Angeles Aboriginal says, shaking my head. I've been working 2 full-time, 16 hours plus drive home. I've been trying to be here too, man. Hey, man, I get it. We was just talking to the brother James, man. Priority first, man. Priority should always be first, man. Especially when you're doing that, some man shit, that man thing, Can't nobody knock a man for doing what he's supposed to do, because most times when men are doing that and they're unable to do, the things they like to do, is because of responsibilities, because they had a priority straight, So hold on, let me grab some. Be careful. All right, you guys. Sorry about that. So yeah, bro. Los Angeles Aboriginal, that man, ain't no love lost, bro. You're one of many men, especially in the RGC, man, that takes care of business. Do that. Do that, man. Without apology, bro. We're here. When you come in here with us, man, we see you. We see you, bro. Yeah. Africa comes before us. I hear you, the homie. You go on to say, the homie, African collectively comes before all other scientific facts, not indoctrination, but hard fact. Look it up. I I hear you. These are jewels and gems. All right. I'm listening, brother. You're going to say, we all agree that Africa is the birthplace of all. So let's stop ducking the task. All right. Raymond Scott said, after that universal awareness. Hold on. Let me go back and read that, Roscoe. You said functioning under these different titles creates different political aims and social ideas about our freedoms. We need a universal awareness that encompasses all of our issues. B1. You go on to say, after that universal awareness is achieved, then we can come with actual solutions geared towards our liberties and equalities for us. All right. Yeah. And James says, no need for static among our own. That's true. You going to say, James, man, call a ball, strike a strike, in the hopes that those who are messing up or fumbling the ball right now can get it together and progress themselves and mold the right mentality and mindset. That's all get down, you guys. It's about, again, it's growth. It's growth, man. It's about, and we're going to get that through education. I think education or educating ourselves contributes to our growth. That's what I think, I see you, Keith. All right, man. Peace to Keith Kloss, man. What it do, loved one? All right. I see you. Like, share, comment, man, and subscribe if you see fit, people. This is Under the Groove Podcast, and we are touching bases with the people. This is what we do. This is what we do, and it's going up right now. All right. All right, Keith, man. Love and respect, man, to you and the wife, man, and the family, man. Hopefully, you enjoyed yourself when you was here, and everything is everything back there, bro. Take care, loved one. Los Angeles Aboriginal says, how they deny us indigenous Americans from receiving millions/billions from Gaddafi. That's probably one of the main reasons they murdered him. Free Jeff Fort. Yeah, that is probably one of them. And the other is that he was transitioning from using the American dollar or using American currency to using gold. And he was trying to get other African nations to join him or have this collaborative effort, put in place, to get from under the heel, the foot of the westernized, the Western powers, So that's part, both are part of what done him in. And then those who were around him and let that shit happen. M13, said for real, like Pac said, money for war, then to feed the poor. I came here listening to that same cut today. I did Pac all the way here, man. They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. They have no interest in that, man. They feel like, hey, I can't go nowhere. You ain't got no money. Where you gonna go? Sit here and just go through, I think that's how they look at a lot of shit, man. All right. Murray Bubba Johnson. He says, hello from Texas, big bro. I was just saying that. Hey, man. Hello, Murray. Murray Bubba Johnson, man. Welcome to Under the Groove Podcast, bro. This is touching base with the people. You in this chat, man, that we call the Royal Group Congregation. Man, hit that like button, man. Will you please share and comment? You've already done that, man. Appreciate you for that. But subscribe, man. Subscribe if you see fit to this get down. If this is up your alley, hey, man, we'd love to have you here as one of us, man. All right. Everybody's in here, man. Everybody's in here, man. So you're more than welcome to be here as well, bro. Peace. Okay. The homie said, no, bub. Ghana has given Black Americans re-citizenship. Yeah, that's was it Ghana? Okay, I'll go double check on that, man. I'll research that, man, and appreciate that bit of information. I just know the Ghana's in the news lately, and they got a lot of strife over there. That doesn't mean that blacks aren't over there from here. They're over there now. I just say some of this stuff, man. that's going on, man. Again, it's being orchestrated by outside forces, man. And I think those outside forces are doing what they're doing to keep a lot. I just think this, man, to keep us here and not for us to go back. You know what I mean? Because I think there are a lot of intelligent, very educated people here who are tired of being here, you know, and are willing to say, okay, man, make this journey. Let's make this transition. Let's uproot and go home, you know. I think there are a whole lot like that. So yeah, I got no problem with that. James Cass said, man, take Forbes, for instance. They have a top 100 wealthiest people in the world. But truth is that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real list is the trillionaires that you and I would never know. Well, we know the names. You got some old money, been around for 300-400 years, been orchestrating wars and coups and setting up countries, tearing down countries, raiding countries, pillaging. Oh, you got some. You used to watch them shows. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think, the thing is they got people thinking there's no such thing as a trillionaire. There is. Yeah, there are, you know. I agree with you on that as well, James. The homie says, yes, Ghana has taken formal steps to grant long-term residency and even citizenship rights African Americans and other members of the African diaspora. But it's important to understand what, I'll get back to you, Maury, hold on. Understand what? Okay, that's the way they didn't understand what, okay? I think so. All right, Murray. Yeah. M13, said we got to build up more organization here for our people without the underground street elements that trap us into their slave shadow systems of bondage. Yeah, we have to move. Those of us who are like-minded and where we can get together and establish this bond, this unit of trust and everything else, man, we have to push forward. We have to continue, this process, man, even when we see some aren't ready or not willing. But at the same time, while we're doing that, we should have someone else, man, going into these communities, man, and start educating these brothers. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree that we're expendable. If that be the case, then that should only be for those or to those who we know don't mean us, no good. That they would rather serve them than to serve, their own people. So I agree with that, man. Los Angeles Aboriginal says, man, Europe and them white abominations ain't the West Side or America. They're ruining our name and image. Western Hemisphere and West Side of Atlantic is melanated West Indians. That's right. Well, Trump just laid claim to mostly all of the Western Hemisphere. I don't know if y'all caught that. This is recent. And it's part of that strategy to lay claim to it. And he and his cohorts are using the Monroe Doctrine, which they've renamed the Dunroe Doctrine. All right. And it calls for absolute dominance over the Western Hemisphere. What's in the Western Hemisphere? You just said it. So them people have no rights to be sovereign. If you think about what's being said or what he's saying, this is one reason why he went up in Venezuela. This is why he's telling Mexico, Peru, Chile, Argentina, Colombia, all of them, toe to Q, or we'll come get you. And they're scared. They're folding under his pressure. They are folding under his pressure. So yeah, that's true, man. About the Western Hemisphere, they're not only going to ruin it, They're gonna strip it of all its resources. Yeah, in that respect, they'll ruin it, And the people have no recourse, you know. You gotta I have to say it like that because you have to think in terms of how they see shit. They go, oh, it's the United States, strongest military in the world. We don't have them on win. Let's just see if they'll throw us a bone. They threatened to go into Mexico to get the cartel bosses, but Mexico understood that it was bigger than that. They go in there, they ain't coming out. You know what I mean? They're not coming out. Mexico had resources, but Scheinbaum, the president, I think that Scheinbaum, I think so, caved. Pretty much told, okay, how can we work together? It's crazy, man. Hey, and furthermore, that leads me to think that they're preparing for war. They're securing the whole backyard. Though China had agreements with Venezuela, though China had agreements with, I think, Peru or Panama, where they built some type of massive port. And I think it's Peru. Or Peru basically, reneged on the contract, the deal, rescinded the contract, a deal, whatever. So China's now selling off the assets they got over there, man. It's just a whole lot going on. The only one hasn't buckled and bent under the pressure of the United States of Donald Trump is Brazil. And it's crazy because I think some of those South American countries are socialist countries or maybe even communist. I'm not sure if they bent to the will of Trump or not. That would not make sense if they did. You know what I mean? Like, oh, man, what the hell going on? But anyway, Cuba's in the crosshairs. All of them. So this new Dunroe Doctrine, man, it supersedes the Monroe Doctrine, or the Monroe Doctrine has been revised and named Dunroe Doctrine. And they're saying basically we're taking over the whole Western Hemisphere. To me, that's them saying we're getting ready for war. China can't come over here. Russia can't come over here. We'll have everything set up and ready just in case, whatever. But at the same time, they're on their way to Iran to create havoc over there. But I said this last week, they may be in for a rude awakening messing with Iran, but that remains to be seen. Yeah, they're ruining, name and image, man. The Western Hemisphere and the west side of Atlanta, it's melanated West Indians. What? The homie say Stevie Wonder is over there repatriated himself. He has his citizenship. I want to make a joke, but I'm not, man. It would be crass, man. Just be in bad taste, but man, more power to that brother, man. Maury say they sold us. They better stay away. All right, Lil H Top, man. You say any updates on Hoover Joe? No, I'll tap in with Joe, man, tonight. I'll text him. I've been in communication with Joe for a few weeks now, but I'll tap in. I'll tap in with a couple of loved ones as well to see if they've heard from him, see if they, received any words from him, but I will, mention that, he was asked about on the podcast. All right. That's Hebrews. And I guess that's the unpronounceable word right there. UHWH. You are? I don't know. But not us, okay? Okay, you gave, I guess that's us, the YHWA. Yeah, I need to know how to pronounce that. You are, Yahweh. You ain't Yahweh, but that is difficult shit. You look like a third grader. Maury Bubba Johnson say, man, there's many different ways to stay and pray the Creator's name. The slave changed the game during praying to keep them blind, y'all. The homie says Africa has the most natural resources on earth. Think about that, black family. No doubt. No doubt. And ain't that something that this is where we come from? And a lot of us profess and just know, spiritually, man, that we have the God gene. This continent has everything the world has, but in abundance, everything. Mostly everything that the Western countries make. Those materials or that the resource come from Africa and export it, to these countries to make all this stuff, man. Got everything. I just hope them brothers, man, just get control of the continent and get rid of those who are selling out the continent, get rid of those who got issues with the original people of the continent. Me and the wife was talking about this the other night, moving to Africa. We actually had a discussion about it, I think though for us, what's stopping us is our family, that's what's stopping us. Otherwise, I think we'd go, we'd go. Anyway, all right, the homie says, okay, Africa has the most natural resources on earth. Think about that, black family. You're going to say, the homie, I got a movie for you, bub. It's A Clockwork Orange. Did I read the book, though? I read the book. I haven't seen the movie. I think, wait a minute.
Old movie? Like
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to put that on the list, too. We can go and, we can do that. All right, Maury Bubba Johnson said, man, I'm from Texas, y'all. Hello, Sam, Rank, Ren, Boo, Gator, Solo, J-Dog, Funky Town Jojo, UC, Dallas Roadie, Rodri. All right, bro. Them shots out. Send them shots out, man. And matter of fact, Maury Bubba Johnson, you need to get each and every one of them names, if you know them, to come and like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel, man. Under the Groove Podcast, man. Let them know, man, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Sundays, we do lives, man. We have a chat here we call the Royal Group Congregation, and this is where we meet up, man, and we drop jewels and gems, man. You picking some up as well as dropping your own. So, hey, man, get them brothers. That look like a good 8 brothers, 10 brothers. Man, come on, man. Bring them in, man. Bring these brothers in, man. All right. Appreciate you being here, though, bro. For real, for real. The homies say, let's do a luncheon at Harold and Bell's Creole spot on Jefferson or somewhere. Shoo, boy. Look at the moderator. How much that cost, man? Shit. Yeah. Hey, we could do that. Let's line that up. Let's line that up. All right. We could do that. Let's line that up, man. One of my loved ones got to have a business over in that area, as a matter of fact. Yeah, let's line that up, man. That sounds about right, man. Creole spot, huh? He said there or somewhere, so you putting that in suggestions. Well, you know what? You didn't birth that baby, the homie. So, hey, man, you set the schedule, man. Let's see how this turn out, all right? But me and the moderator are there. We're there. It's good, man. M13, said like some old indigenous tribes, a meetup would be ideal for real, for real. We could do that. Maury Bubba Johnson said, man, big bub, big bro. I mess with every line that stand with me. That stand with me, the Crim, the Gangster, the Crip gang. I've been teaching my own for years, big bro. On the low, we made it, just some blind. Yeah. And I think, man, that's the objective. That should be the objective, though. Maury, man, that we go in the community, man, and we help educate our brothers, man. We dress them up, man, with jewels and gems, man, for this, get them right. I'm telling you, we get them right, man. We get the community right. The community, man, does good, by us. So we do good by the community, So, man, I salute you, man, for the work you're doing, especially when it's above board. You know, we got to work with these brothers. Again, these brothers, most of them who are in the life, that culture like that, come on, soldiers, man. So, you know, by any means, man, we got to get these brothers to wake up, man. You going to say, man, shout out New York and Jamaica, my babies as well. No, I don't know if there's New York, there's Nye. Shout out Nye in Jamaica, my babies as well. All right, bro. There you go. That's what this folks, you know. We connect like that, show that love and that respect, man. You know, let the family know you're thinking when you got them on social media, their names up in there. Nah, you done that. My name ain't on it. They want to go look. They should, you know. They should. Los Angeles Aboriginal said, man, there's Egyptian and West African origin stories saying their creators came from the West. Uh-oh. All right. That's that conversation. Oh. Yisrael says, man, the solution is right up under our noses, but we keep rejecting it. Well, see, I look at it like this, Israel. That could be for some. That's, you know, because everything is not for everybody. And I think that's the beauty of the human being. The fact that we have minds and we have souls, spirits, man, and we can decide, man, what's best for us or what works best for us or what we, you know, want to align ourselves with, especially if it's positive, you know. That's not, again, man, I don't take swipes, man, you know, unnecessarily, man, just really at all. I speak truth to my power. You know what I mean? I don't intend to disrespect nobody. In fact, I don't disrespect anyone because I want the respect, you know what I'm saying, that I give, you know. So I'm saying that to say, yeah, what you're saying, it has validity, but it only has validity for those who are like-minded as you are in that respect or aspect, you know. A lot of us think that, man, hey, man, you know, life could be lived just as well, man, if you're living in a positive frame of mind. You know, your space is probably everything, you know, what comes out is positive. What you allow in is positive, you know. You know, for a lot of us, man, that's our faith, you know. You know, I tap into the energy. I think the energy is connected, related to our ancestors. You know, that's just me, you know. Try to utilize my DNA, man, to feel, you know, and think and live by a certain measure, a code, principle that I think those who came way before me live by, you know. So there's never no disrespect, man, you know. And sometimes, man, again, we can have stuff right in our face and not see it. You know, might be a reason for that, you know. That might be the way it's designed for right now. You know, that doesn't mean it can't change, you know. All right, Maury Bubba Johnson, man. God bless you as well, brother. You know, you take care, man. Hey, man, good to see you in here. We up again Friday, tomorrow night, 6:15 to right about now. Hope to see you back, bro. And bring some of your boys with you, man. One love, brother. Los Angeles Aboriginal says, why everybody trying to come to America instead of Africa? Which hemisphere did most flora and fauna, fauna originate or have the most diversity? Also, why the West got the most fresh water and dams to stop flow? The homie, where oldest trees, water, and mountains, most staple crops that fed the world origins, is the wood Noah built ark. Is the wood Noah built the ark from really in America? I haven't found that yet. You know what? I like to be able to discover or get a bar of what the hell is in the Grand Canyon that they won't allow anybody to see. You can't even fly planes over certain parts of that Grand Canyon. Some have tried to send drones and they've gotten pictures. I don't know if the AI generated or what, but It's something in that Grand Canyon that relates to our ancestry, you know? So I think we would be remiss to think that, okay, our people got here, man, whenever they got here and they built mound temples or the so-called, pyramids, in the States, as well as South America, they have artifacts and them heads, man, are huge. Ain't no telling how long them things been around, man. My point though is this: if that's there, and there's other places like I think Tennessee, there are a lot of there's something going on there with in terms of our history, our culture, But if that's going on there, man, you have to know there's something. There's more to it. There's more. There are more places with our culture, representative of our culture. It's just being covered up right now. I saw a lot of shit where China does it. They cover over pyramids with dirt and grew grass and trees over it. You know what I mean? They didn't want people to see it. Other countries do it as well. But I'm saying United States is hiding something from us in that Grand Canyon. In that Grand Canyon, All right, man. We've been at this, man. I got to get my way home, man. Hey, man. Even when, man, it seems all bad, man. You're going through whatever. You got to fight through that shit, man. You have to fight through it just so you can find clarity, man. So that you can, you can get hold of clarity. And couple that with the fact that no matter what you go through, still love you, man. Still love you. That's what matters, I think. That's what matters, because if you love you enough, I'm pretty sure this, man. You have love for you, man. That love is something, man, that could be shared, man, with others. You're going to love them just as much as you love yourself, all right? That's what I think, man. So I'm saying that to say love yourself, man, so that you can love others. Take care of yourself first so that you're in a position or place to help take care of someone who may need your support, all right? Just look at it like that, all right? That being said, I'm going to read a couple more of these because they keep coming. They keep coming. Indigenous Aboriginal going in right now, and it's going to be him and the homie. I already know. Why everybody want to turn to American State Africa? Okay, I already read that one. You going to say, though, Los Angeles Aboriginal, the homie, were oldest trees, water, and mountains, most staple crops that fed the world origins. Okay, I read that one as well. Okay, you up in there. M13, said good build, fam. Man, appreciate that coming from you, young one. Appreciate that. All right. Last but not least, man, Los Angeles Aboriginal says indigenous American / Phoenician / Egyptian / Hebrew is one and connected. There's articles. King Tut was found in America. Okay. Never know. Never know. That being said, man, we found each other also in America. Here's where we are, man. Let's make the most of it, all right? Let's make this thing something worth talking about. And I'm not talking about this damn podcast, all right? Serious shit. I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about us. Us. Let's do better for ourselves and each other, all right? Power is in the people. Take care of yourselves, everyone. All love. Hope to see everyone back here tomorrow. Same time, y'all. One love. Peace out. You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Powers in the people.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hearst, the writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transform suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant. This is once a less than At the Saturns and Mercedes, please don't you, I can't stop us. Collar sensitive, but you the applause for pose. DJ data talks and constantly problem when the wet just wanna build the season big. Now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times, pleading walking soft the main. Making on the fans, turning neck and love the durn. Suffer like a kisser. You were wrong to preaching up on side as each bitch on the shit and untrue seeing vet someone the very it's on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bonafide. You wait something for the marker, make the key to pull the trumpets on the boards to the singer land is carried open, slowly keep us looking on my mother, break your generosity more than he and let the peasant be. It's every time we keep a spawn.